Good morning. Morning, Marion.
Good morning, Bianca. How are you?
I'm really good, thank you. I'm always better when you look outside and it's sunny.
Oh, is it sunny where you are? Oh, yeah, that does
Cold,
make it better. Yeah, no, I'm
it's
afraid
cold.
yeah, it's kind of rainy where I am.
Oh,
Yeah,
terrible news.
I know, just in the wrong place, clearly.
I don't mind how cold it is when you have sunshine because it kind of reminds you that it's proper winter when it's like fresh. Your nose is cold, your hands are chilly, but you can kind of walk it off. I don't mind that at all.
And it's got a kind of smell. There's a kind of wintry smell when there's nice bright winter mornings. It's got its own smell, I think. A nice
Yeah,
smell, not
absolutely. Where the rain, I think the rain has that smell in the summer.
Yes, yeah, that's sort of fresh on the grass. Yeah, definitely. And
Uh,
autumn has a
when
different
it's
smell.
been really hot.
Yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
but I like that smell of rain on the grass in the summer when it's been really hot, and then it smells like how you do after a shower. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like the whole world is cleansed and fresh and ready to go.
Yeah,
And I guess
exactly.
like the smell I'm thinking of for the like today is kind of like it smells of winter. It smells of get up and go. Do you mean that
Mm,
crispiness has something about it, doesn't it? But when it's raining in the winter, that's not a good smell.
no.
That's soggy. Ugh.
Yeah,
There's no
exactly.
smiles in that.
No, no. Not that we're not smiling here. We're all happy, even though it's raining. And in fact, weirdly, the sun just came out.
Blimey, this is great news. The thing I don't like about the rain as well is I'm quite small. You might not be able to tell from being online, but I'm about 5'1", and I have this fear that in the rain I could shrink. I could get smaller.
Yeah. Now you've said this before, and I do think that's
Mm.
kind of, quite a big fear to have of the rain, isn't it? I definitely think you're a person that needs a very big umbrella.
I think so. But you know when you're in a bath and you stay in it too long and your skin becomes wrinkly, you kind of shrink.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
your skin becomes like not the right shape for your body. So I think to myself, if I stay in the rain too long, there's a chance I'm going to come out the size of a garden gnome.
Yes. Which would mean you could get on holidays more easily, wouldn't it? You could just pop into somebody's suitcase. So it's always a
Oh,
plus
in which
side.
case, come on, rain.
Yes. Yes. We
So
have this saying in English, don't we, that every cloud has a silver lining. And the idea is that behind the cloud is the sun, just sort of just showing a little bit. And that silver lining is the sort of good thing that's happened, even though a bad thing has happened. And I really like that saying.
Uh, yeah, I like that saying because, and it reminds us that even when everything is going wrong, there is something that potentially could go right. There is something that could happen well. So now that I've waffled about weather, how are you? Because you asked me how I was, and thank you very much for doing that. Because in England, we are sticklers for good manners, politeness. There's a set of words that we consider etiquette, isn't there? There's like this process. And we say to people, how are you? And even if we're having a terrible day, we go, oh, I'm very well, thank you.
We do. Yes, yes, because it's also considered a bit rude to share your problems with everybody who says, "How are you?" So it is all part of our strange etiquette. But sometimes somebody says, "How are you?" and you know they mean it, and you say fine, and it makes you feel a bit finer, even if you are having a rubbish day. So that can help. But it's
Yeah, I
definitely
was exactly thinking that.
yes. I
Oh,
think
yeah,
it's a nice thing to do. It's some people just say, how are you? Because that's the words we're supposed to say. And some people will always say, how are you? And really mean it.
Yeah, absolutely. And I was thinking exactly that, Marion, which is sometimes when I'm feeling blur, so not like sad or happy, or I'm not feeling anything. You know, those days we just feel, hmm. But when you say to people, yeah, I'm fine, thank you, it actually kind of releases those hormones in your body, and you do feel a little bit better.
Yeah, you think, oh, I am fine, actually. Yeah,
Absolutely.
things could be a lot worse. Yes.
So I know
Yeah.
that today you might be feeling even better because some people break up from work earlier than others. Not
Yes, they
20
do.
fingers.
Yes, they do. Because I work at a college, my term has finished. And don't worry, they always like to give us a lot of work to, finish off and get ready for the next term. We're not quite off, but certainly I am not driving into work anymore as of yesterday. So I am lucky, I know.
This is great. So I think we're on the 6th day of Christmas. Yeah, so the tradition is the 12 days of Christmas, and there's a song on the 12 days of Christmas, my true love gave to me, and then you have all of these things. And I don't propose to sing it to you quite yet, because I think at 11:45 in the morning, nobody really needs to hear a Bianca singing like a cat being screeched.
Yeah,
But
and the other
it
thing I
just
find,
feels now a bit magical.
yes, it does. And the thing with that song is I can never quite remember all the lines. So I get as far as maybe number
The
6, and then I get a bit confused.
I think the one that we all get, 5 gold rings.
Yes.
That's
Yeah.
the only one that everybody knows.
When people are singing it together, that bit is always louder because all the people who've just been going suddenly join in and go 5 gold rings.
Oh yeah, I love that part. So one of the sad things this year is that we haven't been able to do carol singing together. We haven't been able to do maybe some of the Christmas traditions that are not religious, but they are culturally British.
Yes.
So, and carol singing for me is one of those cultural things which I really enjoy because it's the time of year where it doesn't matter if you can sing, it doesn't matter if you know the tune, it just matters that you can sing loudly and laugh. And
Yeah.
a group of people getting together, singing, it's another one of those things that just makes you feel good because
It
it's
is.
funny.
Yeah, and often those kind of events are real family events. So when you're singing, it's not just you singing, it's grandmas and grandpas and little children and teenagers, and everybody is kind of, so the whole sound of it is something a little bit different as well. Yeah,
Yeah.
it is lovely.
And this week, what I've really enjoyed is not just have we got our Christmas tree up. Let me show. Can I show you? Well, I'm not sure I can because I don't know how to turn my camera around. I'll have to take a photo and show you in a minute. But also, it's been the Festival of Lights for Hanukkah. So not only have we got lots of sparkly lights everywhere, which I love, but we've been lighting candles. And this year, especially I think for the last few days when people have been really worried about whether they've been going into tier 2, tier 3, there's been a lot of changes in terms of COVID and a lot of anxiety. I think there's never been a better time to be having lots of lights around, whether that's lights in your home, whether that's lights outside in the town centres, because bringing light into the darkness really feels something more than words this year. Do you know what I
Yeah.
mean? It just felt like we've really needed that light in these dark times.
Yeah, it was like Diwali earlier on, wasn't it? The same idea of the light being something good that shines through the darkness, through the bad, to kind of bring us out. Yeah, no, it's a really lovely idea. I don't know much about Hanukkah. When is it celebrated exactly?
So the Jewish calendar is slightly different from our calendar. So it changes every year, but it started on the 10th.
Right.
So and it's for 8 days. So we're over now, but each day you light another candle. So you go from right to left. In fact, let me get a menorah and I can show you.
That would
I
be
know how
great.
exciting. When you're live, you can actually get stuff immediately, which is quite cool.
Oh,
So this is a menorah,
yeah, no, I can. That's it.
and we
Lovely and pretty.
light, yeah, and we have a candle in the middle, and we use that candle to light the other candles, and we light one extra every day. So at the end of Hanukkah, the whole thing is alight,
Mhm.
and you're supposed to put it in your window, so you're sharing your light. Yeah. Now, people who know me know that I'm not a religious Jewish person, but there's lots of cultures that I like from all around the world. So I like Buddhist things. I like the Festival of Lights of Diwali. I like Eid. I like the idea that you fast sometimes to remind you that you're connected to the earth. There's lots of things in all of the religions that I find really inspiring. So I try and take it and see how that feels.
Yeah, I agree with that. Yeah, lots of traditions and some rituals to do with religion are more to do with people living a good life or getting the best out of life. And I agree. There are some real things that we can take from all of them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's exciting, isn't it? So I like this time of year because you've got Diwali, you've had some other stuff, you've got Hanukkah. Yeah, and also one of the good things about Hanukkah is it's all about unhealthy food, a bit like Christmas, I guess, because it's a little bit excessive, isn't it, Christmas? We
Oh
maybe
yeah.
cook a bit too much, we maybe eat a bit too much. Um, and in Hanukkah, you eat a lot of donuts. So you cook food that have been done in oil because it's about the power of oil, that it lights up and all of that kind of stuff. So it's a donut time of year. So you just get through the donuts and then you start on the Christmas chocolates.
Oh, I love donuts. Oh, I had no idea. Oh,
Mm.
that's really kind of made me think a lot.
Next
Anything
year,
with
I'll
donuts.
advise you in advance and we can get together and make donuts. But hopefully, touch wood, then this time next year, we'll all be meeting in the real world and we will be doing some of these sessions together, Marion, at the yard, which I'm really excited about.
Yeah, exactly. It will be lovely. Let's hope that the things that are happening now, for all that they are taking some of the things that we love away at the moment, or minimizing some of the things that we usually do at this time of year. Let's hope that they're all leading to us being able to have a full, wonderful experience next year.
Absolutely. And so for some people, that's been about the vaccine. And I just want to kind of touch on that, if that's okay,
Mm.
because I think sometimes the word vaccine is a bit misleading. So people are saying, Bianca, how can it be a good vaccine? They haven't had very long to test the vaccine. So I'm not sure whether I want to take it. Vaccine might not be the right word because when we think of vaccine for measles, mumps, and rubella, which we give to our children, then that prevents them from having that. And because of that, we have wiped out diseases like polio across the world. Yeah, so there's
Yeah.
some really important vaccines that wipe things out. This won't stop you from getting COVID. Yeah, so it's not that kind of vaccine. It's not the vaccine that prevents a barrier and says you will never get COVID. But what it does do is it stops you from dying of COVID. Yeah, and that's the really important part. So that's why it's going out to our most vulnerable, our oldest, our most vulnerable straight away, because the problem with COVID is about how it attacks older people, how it kills really vulnerable people. Remember the amount of disabled people that COVID has actually killed, which is disproportionate. It keeps them safer. And that's the most important part because by doing that, it means that they're less likely to need to go to hospital. And if they're less likely needed to go to hospital, it means that the doctors and nurses can actually treat some of the more traditional things that are going on, like pneumonia and flu, which is happening this time of year, and not have the beds really blocked because of COVID. The other thing to remember in this time of year, and I've heard this a lot, so I just want to remind people as well, if you are worried about any other part of your health, please contact your GP, so your doctor, or the hospital as appropriate. Don't stop your treatment. Yeah, they haven't stopped cancer treatment. They haven't stopped all of the other stuff that goes on at hospitals. What they might have done is slow things right down. So we might be waiting a tiny bit longer, but the treatment is still there. Okay, so we are in a pandemic. We are in this really scary time, but the rest of your health is really important too.
Yes, don't decide that you aren't important because of everything that's going on here, because that's not what the doctors and the NHS are doing. They are still prioritizing. They are still trying to look after people, keep them alive, treat them on time and regularly for
Absolutely.
ongoing conditions. It is not the case that you have to put yourself second to that. Yeah.
And I know there's lots of reasons to distrust governments, and I know there's lots of reasons to feel wary and nervous. But if I am offered the vaccine, then I will take it. My mum and dad will take it. And so I encourage you to be very proactive in this. We obviously can't say to you, you must take it, but please don't worry as much about the kind of side effects, because all of the ingredients for the vaccine are ones that have already been tested. And the reason it took such a short time is because such a lot of money from different governments around the world was ploughed into this, and other things stopped temporarily. So there was a big focus on getting a vaccine for this, because remember, even though cancer and other illnesses are global, they haven't presented the same global impact as what this has. So all of the countries in the world have had a determined effort to find solutions so that we can go back to normality, because they want you to go back to work. We can have a political discussion about that another day. And they want you to do things. So there's a big effort around that. So don't think that they haven't treated this seriously because it's gone so quickly.
Exactly.
And remember, if 60%,
go on.
I was going to say, if 60% of people take the vaccine, then by next summer, we could be looking at a more back to normal state than we are. But we might have to be prepared for a lockdown of sorts in January, because we're all going to mix at Christmas, and because people have come home from university or come home from work at Christmas. So we will see a lot more mixing than previously. And it's really hard, isn't it, to not give loved ones a hug when you see them. It's really hard when you go and visit someone and have dinner to go, actually, 2 meters, please.
Especially maybe family.
It's inevitable.
Yeah, you might not see them for 6 months. You might not have seen them for longer than that. Yeah. I think the other point with the vaccine is that it's not just about time. Yes, maybe it didn't take much time, but let's face it, the resources that are available to the companies that are putting, not just money, the computing resources, the access they have to an incredibly huge amount of knowledge and expertise, it means that let's bear in mind that that's available. So it's not just about time. Think about all the resources they have used.
No.
And as you say, Bianca, the point is, we have been doing this now for a year. Let's face it. I know we went into lockdown in March, but we all first started talking about COVID basically this time last year. And it has to end. And this is a way it could end. And
Yeah,
it's
absolutely.
so, I think it's good to embrace that. I don't know what, I'm not a pharmacist. I'm not a doctor. But yes, like you, I would certainly take this chance, because I think that, it could be the only way to take us through and out of this.
And I think, especially at Christmas and at Hanukkah and Diwali, we've got all these festivals. So we are in one of the best holiday times of the year. I know we have all of other holidays across the year, but at this holiday time, I am reminded about the power of community. Yeah, and if you listen to the Yard's Twitch at all, you will know that I'm often using words like collaboration and connectivity. And I think that one of the most important things that this has taught us, and the reason why the vaccine and other things are so important, is it's not about you and I. If I get COVID, of course, there's a risk that I might die, but there's a bigger chance that I won't because I'm younger, I'm 43. So I'm not taking the vaccine because of me. I want to take the vaccine to ensure that the older people and the vulnerable people around me are safe. And that's why I wear the face mask, and that's why I wash my hands, and that's why I try and make sure there's a distance between me and the people around me when I'm out and about. And so
Yes.
this time of year is remembering other people.
Yes, it is. I work with vulnerable adults, and it's exactly the same. That it is very important that they are safe. Yeah. So I think, as this is and the collaboration side of things, as you said, if 60% of people take the vaccine, that is us all collaborating. If 100% do it, that's
Yeah.
obviously complete collaboration.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Well, what better Christmas present for people than to think about stuff and to do things in a selfless way? Now, thinking about that, Mariam, this is a very tedious link. Yeah, tedious. What does that mean? Do you know?
Oh,
So
tedious.
tedious,
Good word.
yeah, it's a good
So
word, but it's a hard word.
it is. It's got a more common synonym, hasn't it? Which people will probably recognize, and that's boring. So you could say boring, but if you're trying to extend your English and learn different words and synonyms, tedious is a really good word. And actually, I think sometimes tedious has the idea of being a little bit more boring than boring, doesn't it?
And it's also suggesting that when you say the sentence a tedious link, what you're saying isn't just that it's like a boring link, but it's like a very weak link. Yeah, you're connecting something in a very peculiar way. It's not a strong connection. So we're going from caring and giving, and I'm going to ask you about, so then on Christmas, what do you do? Because this time next week, Christmas Day over, and we'll be on to Boxing Day. So I was wondering, Marion, what do you get up to on Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, Boxing Day? What do you have a routine and traditions?
Yes, we have lots of traditions in my family. It's very much a family affair, Christmas. So from the time that my children have been very young, and they're now huge, we would always drive up to my dad's house on Christmas Eve with very excited small children. And my brothers, I have two brothers, and they and their families would do the same. And then we would all squeeze into my dad's house on Christmas Eve, wandering around the house trying to make small children go to sleep when in fact they're like this. And then in the morning, we would wake up and the children would have stockings on their beds. So
Ah,
stockings are very much a tradition that I think if you're not from our culture, it's hard to understand. Stockings are in fact long socks, but they are often long socks that are decorated in a Christmassy way. Sometimes we make them deliberately and they're a bit bigger, and you'd have to have very
I'm
big
going to
feet.
find the stocking to show you.
Yes. So the stockings, when the children put their stockings, there we go. So when the children put their stockings on their beds in the evening, there is nothing in them. But in the morning, there are many little presents in them. And in ours, there's always an orange. So always a little bit of fruit for the morning, nice and healthy. And then when we've had a very excitable morning looking in these stockings, we have to go and look after my stepmother's sheep. So we all walk down to the field where the sheep are, and they get fed, and the dogs get walked, and we all get a bit of fresh air. And then we come back, and then it's time for presents and cups of tea, and dinner starts being made, and our day then kind of sort of gets a little bit sort of slower as we get more and more full of food. And then the rest of Christmas Day and Boxing Day is often a very calm sort of family time. We're very lucky because my dad lives out in the country, so we can go out for walks. We can just go out on our bikes and have some exercise to get off all the food. But generally, it's a really nice time. And then we all leave sometime around Boxing Day with my dad and my stepmother going, "Get out, go away now, we're tired, you've eaten all our food." So that's our Christmas. What about you, Bianca?
So at Christmas, on Christmas Eve, my mum makes the mince pies. So we always have the Christmas music in the background. My mum have a glass of sherry. Yeah. So there's always one for Father Christmas, of course, but my mum doesn't see why she should miss out.
No, that's fair.
So she's got her Christmas apron on.
Lovely.
Everything has a Christmas feel to it. We've got the mince pies. She's had a few glasses of sherry by the time she's finished. So everyone's feeling a bit happy. We're singing to the Christmas songs like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer, Silent Night. So a mixture. And then sometimes my sisters come. One of my sisters brings her 2 children. And we all have like some nibbles and have a natter. And then it depends on who's with whose family, because as you get older, so Jasmine, my middle sister, sometimes she has dinner at mum and dad's, but sometimes she has dinner at her husband's mum and dad's. And so Simone, who is my little sister, she works as a psychiatric nurse. And so sometimes she's at work because hospitals don't close over Christmas.
No,
so
no,
sometimes she's so sometimes she's there. But this year, Jasmine and Simone and Jasmine's children and husband are at mum and dad's. And we will go there, me and Steve, in the morning for Christmas breakfast, which is scrambled eggs. If we're lucky, we get some smoked salmon for those people who like fish in the morning. But we always have Bucks Fizz. So there seems to be like a bit of a boozy feel to the start of our day.
Yes.
And then this year, we're coming back home. So we're coming to Steve's house and we're having dinner with his family. So we will probably speak online to mum, because now that you've got Zoom and all these things, we might play some family games across the households, which would be cool. Dinner will be about 3 o'clock. We make it a point not to watch the Queen. So some people, that's a tradition. But for us, we like to turn her off. So years ago, I don't know whether you remember this, Marion, being a young person like myself, but it used to be the Pops. as well on Christmas Day.
So
And so
be a Christmas Day edition of Top of the Pops. Yes.
so you used to see all the good songs of the year. And so for us at Christmas, I guess what I really like is I love roast dinners. I love all the vegetables, but there is a kind of tradition where you have dripping. And dripping is where when you've cooked the turkey or the beef or whatever meat you're cooking, it's all the fat. Yeah, it's at the bottom of the tray. And what you do is you pour that fat into a bowl and you leave it to cool down. And when it's cooled down, you have a layer of kind of like white fat, and underneath it you have jelly. And so what I'm most excited about on Christmas Day is tea time when I can have dripping on toast. And so
Yeah, my
it's a
dad
really
likes
London thing.
No, my dad likes dripping sandwiches. It's a northern thing as well.
Oh,
Yeah.
I love it. It's great. So you're not supposed to have butter, but I like butter and then the dripping. So proper unhealthy food. Then by the time it's tea time, they've had their presents. We've played a game. We've probably had a family passionate discussion because
Yeah.
that's what happens because we're not together, are we, for the majority of the year? So
No.
at the beginning, we're all really happy to see each other. And then by the end of the day, we're all like, oh, you're getting on my nerves now.
Yes,
That's
especially
families. That happens across every house.
it does, and especially if there have been a few sherries and Bucks fizzes, and yeah, sometimes that doesn't help with the family passionate discussions. Yes, yes. Well, I must admit.
So then
Yes.
everyone goes back to their own houses. But then on Boxing Day, which I really like, so it's my other favourite food. I'm not really a big turkey fan. I like the dripping. I like the Brussels sprouts. But I love Boxing Day because we have mashed potato and cold meat. But I love mashed potato sandwiches.
Right. Yeah. Well, mashed potato is. It's hard.
The
to not-
butter melting, oh, it's lovely. It's fab. And having, so again, because it's Christmas time, we have nicer bread. Yeah, so we save up because actually it's really expensive Christmas. So Christmas for our family is something we plan for the whole year. We have like
Yes.
a jar in the house and any spare pound coins, so like we stick it in the jar, and that pays for our Christmas food in December. And so it sounds a bit peculiar, but in January we're already thinking about Christmas. But for us as a family, it's our way of creating a budget, but takes the pressure off because it's really hard this time of year. Because I don't know whether you notice it, Mariam, but and I'm going to use the dreaded B word here, but because of Brexit, the cost of living seems to be going up a bit.
Yes, it does. And I think that's a very sensible way to do it, what you've just described, because actually a lot more people, probably myself included, will tend to spend at Christmas having not saved up, and then actually start the year with a bit of a deficit. Start the year having really not enough money, or a month where they've really got to be very careful to make their money last, and that's not such a great start to the year. So actually the way you're doing it is much better in the sense of practicality and sort of financial sense, and also kind of mental health. It's a better way to start the year.
We don't always obviously have enough money, because when you've got a jar, sometimes you go into it at other times of the year. But what it does do, so I can recommend this to everybody, which is even if we only save £20, it's £20 less than we need to find.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so it does make that, it's a strange feeling, but even if we've only raised a little bit of money through that jar, we kind of all feel, and it gives that positive momentum.
Yeah, exactly. Yes, and I think a lot of people will do that with things like store cards, or not store cards, but store reward cards. Like I know
Yeah.
the Co-op has a very good store reward card, for example, and you can save that and have a bit of money off at Christmas. That's another sort of good way that you can actually save some money for an event that you're waiting for. You know, some of the reward systems are very useful.
And I don't know if I told you, Marion, but next year at the Yard, so remember that Everyday English, although we're virtual at the moment, so we're in your computer, in your home, our space is down 62 Gold Street because we have a home with community sport yard. And at the Yard, every morning in January onwards, they have a thing called Open Table. And the Open Table is where you can have some breakfast and have a natter. But what I really like about it is that on different days, they bring different people to help, and money management is something that they really help with. So if that's something that you need help with, we will be live streaming those sessions, so that you can actually get some really good tactics and advice on how to start 2021 in control. That's what it's actually about, isn't it? How do we regain control of our finances?
Yeah, that's a great idea. Yes,
So I
definitely.
don't know about you, Marion, but when I was younger and I started working, one of the things that I got taught is not necessarily you had to have a physical jar, but you got your wages out and you put it into, like, this is what I need to pay for my rent, this is gas and electric, this is, so I could physically see it. And I think it's harder nowadays for people to manage money because it's all in the air on the internet, and you're using your card and you don't even type in a number now, you just contactless it. And so you don't have to really think about, have I got enough money in the same way? It's so
No,
easy to go into an overdraft.
yeah. Yes, exactly. And direct debits, you know, they're very, very useful, but it's easier to forget. It's easier to just kind of think, oh, was that today? And, you know, not kind of prepare yourself for money that sort of now automatically comes out of your account.
Yeah, and don't forget, or maybe you don't know, not you, Marion, but people, which is when you are in financial tightness, yeah, when things are feeling a little bit fragile for you, sometimes people think, I really need £100, for example, and they will go to get it either via credit card or a loan, but the interest rate is really, 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 really high. So maybe you're borrowing £100, but maybe you're paying back 500, which is absolute madness. You can always check out the credit union. You don't need to have a credit union bank account to get a loan from them, but they are really ethical and supportive. Also, if you've got bad credit and you need a new bank account, then I highly recommend a credit union because of how it manages money. What I'll do is I'll stick a link in here in a second so people can look up credit unions. Have you ever heard of them before, Marion?
No, I don't think I have. No, so I'll be looking at that link. That sounds very good. I'm writing it down.
Just to Google. I'm having a look now. Just so credit unions. Da, da, da.
Yeah, I think people don't know quite how
So
much.
credit unions, yeah. So credit unions offer better savings rate, better lower loans rate. They have reduced fees. They are non-profit entities that serve their members, so they never make a profit like banks do. Yeah.
Yeah, that does sound a lot more
So let me just
ethical.
type in that word. Credit unions. It's really worth checking those out if ever you are in financial trouble. And I think that in Northamptonshire, there's a credit union. There's a couple of, and I'm sure there is in Dunstable. So there are ones that are national, but there are ones that are geographical, and there are also credit unions that are based around a particular sector. Yeah, so it's really worth doing your homework, but I can't stress enough, but now is not the time you get yourself in debt. Yeah.
No,
Nobody
people
needs more than one
have
present. And remember, Father Christmas, his bag is not so extendable. Yeah, he can't fit 20 presents for every person. He's got room for one. Yeah, so don't feel any more pressure. Then, as long as you've got some food on the table, you've done really well. And the fact that we've all got through December, we've made it this year. Do you mean this has been one of the hardest years for people because we began the year with hope and kind of curiosity. And then we were like, oh, at least we're not China. At least we're not. Do you mean it kind of felt like at least we're not these other countries. But we've now had 64,000 people die, approximately. Do you mean? So this has been a really difficult year for 64,000 families. And that's not including the families whose loved ones have survived, because the trauma of not being able to visit your family in hospital must have been absolutely hideous.
absolutely.
So COVID has been a big wake-up call to the importance of family.
Yep, and many COVID sufferers are still suffering, aren't they, as well? So if they've survived, they are still, it can be a disease which really stays around and takes some getting over. So there's a proportion of our community are still ill, are still suffering with their everyday tasks and lives because they had COVID. So it's not just about the figures, is it? It's not just about the death figures. It's not just about that. It's people who are still living with it.
Absolutely. Now, I don't want it to be doom and gloom because it's Christmas, and behind us we've got all the sparkly lights.
Yes, yeah, that's a very nice.
So I thought I would do a fast-fired round of Christmas quiz for you, Mariam.
Oh, hooray! Okay, if anybody's
You're
listening,
welcome.
help me.
So last week you did a Christmas quiz on me.
I did.
Now my one isn't interactive. I'm not going to show you it because I can't work out how to take the answers off. So
right, fair enough.
I'm having to do it like this. Okay. So there's 20 questions. Some of them are fun trick ones, and some of them are specifically about the Christmas period. Okay. So we've got a mixture of both. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Excellent.
I'm not ready.
Question 1. What's the name of the period leading up to Christmas?
Is it Advent?
Yeah, Advent. Absolutely. Yeah. Well done.
Thank you.
Question 2. How many wise men brought gifts to Jesus?
Oh, I think there were 3 of them.
Well, this is really interesting. We know that there was more than one, but actually in the Bible, it doesn't say how many there were. So that's just part of this. That's just part of how the story has developed, a bit like Chinese whispers.
Yes.
Yeah. So who knows how many? But we believe we got the 3 wise men because we had myrrh, frankincense, and gold. But there may have been more, but there was definitely one.
So the idea was that the fact is that there were 3 gifts of frankincense, myrrh, and gold, but we do not actually have it established that there were 3 people that brought those gifts. Oh, interesting. Okay, there we go. That's me educated on a Saturday morning. That's what I like to do.
Question 3. Now, this is our first kind of fun question of the quiz. How does Goodkin Wenceslas like his pizzas? Thinking of the song.
Okay, good.
Da, 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 da.
Deep and crisp and even.
Yes. Yeah, so it says here, deep pan, crisp and even. But you definitely get a point for that.
Yes.
Question 4. What was the name of John the Baptist's mother? The
Mm.
answer isn't mum.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Mm.
could be hard then. Hold on. Just let me think if I actually know this. John the Baptist. I don't know. Is it Mary?
No, now lots of people said Mary yesterday, but it is in fact Elizabeth.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah, random.
That is random.
Who brings present? Yeah, who brings the presents to children?
Yes, go on.
Who brings presents to children in the Netherlands on the 5th and 6th of December? Do you know?
Oh. Oh, on the 5th and 6th. No, that probably has any.
You're gonna kick yourself when I give you the answer.
Is it Father Christmas? Is it Saint Nicholas?
It's St. Nicholas. Yeah,
Yeah.
St. Nicholas. So, now here's the next fun question. How many letters are there in the angelic alphabet?
In the angelic alphabet. Wow, I've never heard of the angelic alphabet. So I have no idea. What is the angelic alphabet?
It's the alphabet made up by the angels, and apparently there are only 25 letters in that alphabet because there's no L, as in no hell.
Okay. All right. Let's.
Yeah. There are some really good questions in this quiz, and there are some really corny questions in this quiz. Question 7. In what town was Jesus born?
He was born in. Hold on. Bethlehem.
A little town of Bethlehem. Yeah.
I was kind of getting confused
Well
between
done.
Bethlehem and Nazareth there.
Hold on. How many presents, not prisons, how many presents were given in total in the 12 days of Christmas?
To whom? Oh, in the song. Yeah. Oh,
On the
hold
12
on.
days of Christmas, my true love gave to me.
Okay, so there's one thing plus two things, that's 3. Plus 3 things is 6. 4 things is 10. 15. 21 plus 7 is 28. Plus 8 is, hold on, 36. Plus 9 is 45. Plus 10 is 55. Plus 11 is 66. Plus 12 is 78. Is that correct?
Now, apparently, Mariam, and I don't know how they've got this number, but it's 364. But I presume that's because every time you sing it, so if you go, on the first day of Christmas, my true love gave to me, so you'd have to do it each time. So every time you sang it, that's what I think, because
Yeah.
364 is a huge number.
Yes, it is. Yes. Yes. Okay. Fair enough.
Next
But
question.
my very bad maths there. So that's
Me too. I couldn't work it out. I would just have to tell you the answer on the sheet.
none of my students will ever trust me to teach them maths again.
So question 9 is, in which decade was the first Christmas card sent in the UK?
Oh, I think that was the 18. I'm sure 1830s.
So close, Marion. It was 1843 by Sir Henry Cole. But well done, that was a really good guess.
Oh, thank you. Well, I think I had a similar question in my last quiz, didn't I? I can't take credit for that. In fact, I should have known it because of that.
But you remembered, so it's good.
Yeah.
So we're halfway through the quiz. We're at number 10. And
Okay.
this question is a little bit ambiguous, but let's go for it. What country did the family escape to? It doesn't specify the family, but I'm presuming it has a kind of Jewish, Jesus-y type feel.
Right. Okay. What country? I have no idea. Israel?
Apparently, Egypt.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's obviously the
I think,
follow-up
I think when
to
you
the
listen,
story that nobody pays any attention to.
yeah, I think there's a whole thing around people going into the desert for the 40 days and 40 nights, isn't there? But I can't remember the story, so I can only give you that little snippet of what I think.
Okay, that's
Okay,
fun.
so Rudolph has lots of reindeer companions, but do you know the names of the reindeers that begin with the letter D?
Oh, Donna. Hold on, there's Donna Blitzen. Do you know, I actually know somebody who is called after the reindeer Donna.
Oh wow! So spelled like a doner kebab rather than a donna.
It's actually spelled like a Donna, but apparently that's who she's called after. Is the Donna because she's a Christmas baby. I thought it was very
Nice.
fun. Yeah. So Donna is one. I can only remember Donna and Blitzen.
You've got Dasher
Dasher,
and
yeah.
Dancer.
Oh, there we go.
So my next question, and I think you might know this, which is, what country did Christmas trees originate from?
I think that was Germany.
It was Germany, but actually, where it is now is Latvia. But back then, Latvia was still part of Germany. But we would now know it as Latvia. But you're right, Germany. Who killed? No, wrong. Who was the king of Jews who ordered the babies to be killed?
Oh, that was Herod.
Yeah, it was. Well done.
Yeah.
What's
Universal
the
bad.
second line? What's the second line of I'm dreaming of a white Christmas?
Just like the ones I used to know.
Excellent. Well done. What was Joseph's job?
He was I think he was a carpenter too. I think he was a carpenter. I'm not sure. I know Jesus became a carpenter, but I have a feeling Joseph was too.
Okay, so who started the custom of this word? So I would pronounce it wassailing.
Oh, wassailing or wassailing. Yeah. Who started this? Do you know, it sounds like a Charles Dickens thing.
Yeah.
I'm sure that's the first time I ever saw that word was in maybe Charles Dickens film.
It's apparently Anglo-Saxons and it means good health.
Yes. Yeah, I can sort of see that. That's really old though, isn't it? Wassailing.
Yeah.
And what does it exactly mean? Because I always think of it as being a kind of singy thing.
I don't know. I'm going to have to find out for when we meet up after Christmas.
Yes.
I think one of the things that maybe I'm going to do after Christmas with you, if you're up for it, is each week I'm going to find a random word that's unusual and bring it to our cafe. Because
Mm.
what I love about English is we've got some great words that maybe people don't use anymore. Yeah, because we try and make words shorter, don't we? In the
Yeah.
sense of instead of saying I am going to, I'm going to go. We're always shortening our language. So I'm going to try and find some of those older words and see if we can find ways to use them in sentences. Remembering that when we do our examinations, people really like that.
Yes, yes. Let's bring them back. Let's bring those words back because some of them are crazy.
So my next question, who were
Yes.
the first people to visit the baby Jesus?
Shepherds. The 3 shepherds, or some shepherds.
Excellent. Yeah. Who knows how many?
Yeah.
But they definitely had sheep
I'm
with
being
them.
caught out by that again.
What's lucky? Yeah. What's lucky to find in your Christmas pudding?
A 6pence.
Absolutely. Now we don't have sixpences anymore, so now
No.
we tend to put a penny in. So when you're eating your Christmas pudding, be careful, just in case you crunch something hard and it breaks a tooth.
Yes. Yeah, because that's not lucky.
Who or which angel? No, that's not lucky. Which angel visited Mary?
I'm thinking that was Gabriel.
Well done. It was, absolutely. And then your final question, where did the baby Jesus sleep?
In a manger.
Excellent. Well done.
Can
And
you
that
tell?
is my Christmas quiz.
Thank you. Can you tell how many nativity plays I have watched every year as my children have grown up?
Absolutely.
Well, that was really good. That was fun. Thank you.
Yeah, very welcome. So we are now at the end of our final Conversation Cafe for 2020. Marion, it's been really lovely seeing you every week, and we
Yes.
look forward to restarting. So let me just tell you when we will be back, because that's always useful to know. So we will be back on Saturday, the 9th of January. So I really look forward to seeing everybody at the Conversation Cafe on Saturday, the 9th of January with Marion. But that's not the end of seeing you, Marion, is it? Because you're on this afternoon on Twitch.
Yes, I am. Yep, I'll be on Twitch with some games, probably with a Christmas theme, but definitely with a learning English theme. So please join me. It's learning, but it doesn't feel like learning.
Perfect. And I think, although we say it's on Twitch, I think it will also be on YouTube and it will also be on Facebook. So there's lots of different ways that you can watch Marion and do a bit of festive learning on a Saturday afternoon. What time is that? 1:30?
That'll be at 1:30, yes. Yeah, so 1:30
Yeah,
till around
perfect.
2.
Excellent. Well, Marion, I look forward to seeing you in the new year, and hopefully sooner rather than later we will be rejecting the elbow, she says, giving you an elbow, and we'll be going back to a normal handshake and a high five and those kind of nice human interactions that make us feel warm and fuzzy. But to
Yes,
everybody who's watching us, Merry Christmas, and I hope that 2021 is a year full of good health, much happiness, and it's where you follow your dreams and, of course, where you learn and you improve your English. Take care, everybody. Bye
Take
bye.
care. Happy Christmas. Bye.